One of the things they asked me to comment on was the impact of WhatsApp. WhatsApp's not on the social media ban. And it got me thinking around social identity. If you think about it, try to put yourself into the shoes of a teenager, which for you is going back 2 or 3 centuries, and you have to have interactions with your peers, and then you need a moment to be on your own. You need a moment to reflect on your interactions to figure out what you're about. If that's always on, that's surely got to have an impact on how you develop your own identity in the young adulthood.
Yeah, it will do. And we don't know at this point whether that will be for the good or the bad, do we?
No, I know that there's mixed feelings about the ban in Australia, about, young people are tech savvy. They always find a way around these things, some to greater degrees than others. I think the sentiment in itself is good that we are trying to regulate it, which means that the majority of young people will comply to some degree. But fundamentally, the question for me is it a good thing or a bad thing? And at the moment, I'm leaning towards it's a good thing. I think it's going to help people interact in more connected ways rather than superficial connection, I think is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, maybe the word ban wasn't the best word to use.
Regulation, maybe. Suspension. That's a good school word, isn't it?
As soon as you get into the word ban, you are creating a knee-jerk response, aren't you? Which is, you can't tell me what to do, or people finding another way around. But the actual reasoning behind the social media ban, I agree with you. I would be more leaning towards the positives. And what leads me into that position is a lot of the psychological casework that is either undertaken by myself or people bring through supervision. There's two main themes that run through there. One is social communication difficulties, and one is emotional regulation difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
And just to keep it really sort of simple for my purposes, the social skills issue is because people are not having the ability to, like you say, switch off, but also not having the ability to learn how to read social tone, how to use tone, to read body language, how to convey body language. So those things are deteriorating with social media. And the other thing that is emotional regulation, because on text and short bursts of communication, you're allowed to be something in the virtual world that you're not necessarily allowed to be in the real world.
Go on. You can't stop there. That's like the introduction to a really good book.
Well, I often think about people who, for example, develop what would ordinarily be a long-standing relationship where, you've built up rapport and you get to know people over time. You get to know their nuances. And I see a lot of young people who develop those best friend type relationships within hours because of the intensity of communication that goes on through social media. And you can start becoming something you're not. So when I say about the virtual reality, you have this identity of virtual reality, and then when you turn up and actually meet people face to face, you've got to deal with the reality. And it can be quite difficult allowing your virtual self to become manifest through the real self.
So almost like two different identities at play.
Yeah.
Your reality and your virtual reality.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like a modern version of Jekyll and Hyde, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
You spoke on something there around social communication, which got me thinking. And I was listening to a podcast with Steven Pinker, the famous language scientist. And he's written many books on RSA and written communication. And he was saying something that was adjacent to what we're talking about. And he said that it's much easier to convey yourself, the meaning, that you're trying to get across orally, because we have evolved over, thousands of years to do that. But written language is you've got to anticipate what the other person is thinking, how they feel, how to communicate the imagery, how to communicate the tacit communication, the body language that you described. And when you're a teenager, that's obviously much harder to do, but we're doing it all the time through text messages, and it means that there's many more chances for miscommunication.
Yeah.
This episode of Between Two Psychs is proudly sponsored by Sanctuary Personnel. As a specialist recruitment partner across psychology services, education, social care, and healthcare, Sanctuary is dedicated to connecting talented professionals with organizations that truly value expertise. They take a consultative approach, meaning they understand the sectors they serve across the UK. If you're looking to strengthen your team or elevate your own career, visit sanctuarypersonnel.com. You can also reach out directly to Kamru Zaman at k.zaman@sanctuarypersonnel.com and Susie Cousins, s.cousins @sanctuarypersonnel.com. Contacts in the description. Thank you and enjoy the episode.